I was assaulted sexually. I felt unattended to mentally and emotionally because mommy wasn't around, daddy was totally absent. Initially, I didn't tell anyone about it. There was nobody to talk to. You can't talk to mama. You can't talk to papa about such a thing. Papa was a priest. We were all being brought up in a Christian home. I knew something was wrong. I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't understand how bad it was. Yes. And I also knew that I cannot talk to any... See, if you go to school and they beat you up in school, there's nobody to come home and report to. Mommy and I were not even close because she was not around. Mama was strict. Mama is a disciplinarian. The right things, the right things, the right things. So you don't want to tell Mama the wrong thing. Mama is the kind of person that when you break a plate, you carry the broken plate and go and meet her with your cane. So is that the person you want to go and tell that this kind of a thing is happening? No, you can't. So I couldn't tell anybody. The person who hurt me as a child, I thought I had let go. I thought I had moved on. I wasn't really healed. I didn't know the depth of what was happening to me until I entered JS 1 and they had this sex education and they made it look like if you were not a virgin, you were dirty. And it broke me. Something died in me that day. I was fighting, I was angry, I was strong, I was mean, zero emotions. Low self-esteem was eating me up so badly. I didn't know how to make friends. I couldn't mix up in class. I was the weird one in class. I tried to make friends, but I was not normal. If I want to be friends with somebody, I have to write a letter and say, can you be my friend? They would laugh at me. And other people were flowing. I'm scared. I don't want to be hurt. There was this deep void in my heart. I couldn't really let go. I just wanted to be happy. Childhood trauma never really leaves you. I had traditional marriage in my mom's place.
Wow.
All the list, all the payments.
He was alive when you were getting married. Did he come?
So it's like, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
I just wanted to ask that for the sake of those.
He's not interested.
After you got married, did he ever bless the marriage?
He never picked my calls again.
Till he died?
2017. No, 2016. No. 2015. I had just come to Abuja. I called. Hello, Daddy. I say, is Ada? He said, Ada. I say, it's Adobe because he calls me Adobe. I said, Daddy, is Adobe. He cut the call. I called throughout that day. He didn't pick that call. 3 weeks later, or 1 month later, the following month, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but the following month, I called again. I introduced myself. Daddy, it's Adobe. He won't even know it's me because he deleted my number clearly. It's Adobe. He will end the call. The 3rd month, I did the same thing. He did the same thing. So I deleted his number. And that was the last time I had a communication with my father.
Till he died?
Till he died. Ooh. And so the day I got a call from an outsider who is not a member of the family, he said, there's something he wants to tell me now. Your daddy, because the man was forming, I'm going to reunite you with your father. Your father cannot be alive and have access to his property and his wealth. I mean, he's your child, yeah, his first seed. I said, these people don't understand what I'm saying.
Wow.
He now called me to say, my daddy had just died 2 weeks ago and I should take heart. I heard he had cancer. Yeah, and he died in Europe.
So all the time that he was dying,
he did not. Because he was sick. Cancer would not just wake you up in the morning and just kill you. Yeah. So you went through this thing and you did not reach out to me. So I don't know if I'm angry with him or not, honestly.
Are you?
I don't know. There's no emotion. I feel like for somebody to get to the point where you're angry with the person or feeling... You people have a form of relationship. I didn't have any relationship with him per se. So I'm not going to say I'm angry with him. The only thing I wish to have was that fatherly love. And seeing himself, if he was in my life, I would still not get the fatherly love.
Apparently. I mean, from what you have said, obviously you would not have.
He's rigid. Kenneth is rigid.
And that's where I was going to say that for children who have either of the parents missing, what I want to say now might be a difficult pill to swallow. But what I found out is that in most cases, it might be an act of mercy from God.
Mine was.
There are times that the person's presence can be worse than their absence.
Mine was. If I take you through the spiritual battles I've fought, you will understand that I know for a fact that mine was. I went through deliverance sessions with Pastor Kayode Lebio. And one of the things that happened was that the community in those days worshipped snakes.
Where? Anambra?
Anambra, yes.
Okay.
And I had to deal with it. There was a lot of deliverance. I fought spiritual battles. That's why when I read on the internet now and they say all those things are scam or all those things don't exist, I just smile. I don't argue. I don't talk. I'm always on Twitter, but I don't argue with. There are some things you cannot argue with.
Well, maybe when they experience it.
If you've seen what I've seen, if you know, it took me 2 years to deal with different spiritual battles.
Yeah.
And one of them was the fact that those people worshipped snake. It was during the deliverance session my mother told me, she now remembered that when she brought me to the village as a baby, the python came. So out of fear, she dropped me on the floor. The people there were giving the snake the bones to eat. The snake had come to visit newborn baby. And the snake went round me. And the thing is that demons see your destiny. And they know where to go to. They know where even me sitting here, I don't know what God has in store for me tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I know that the devil can see it. That's why I've had to fight a lot of spiritual battles.
Fought, yeah.
That was when my mom now remembered that, hey, this thing happened. And then the kid snake came and went and she dropped me and she ran. And the people were saying that the snake had come to greet me. I didn't know that.
It has spiritual implications.
Yes. And I fought for months. I could not sleep. If I close my eyes like this, I would see there's no kind of snake. And it's not that I've seen them on TV.
Wow.
Oh, I know what they looked like. So looking back at that spiritual battle, I thank God that I didn't grow up in the village, in the family, and in that community.
You would have sunk into this.
No. When my father died, I actually contemplated, going for the burial. I had actually just had my last baby. My mom came for Omugo. And when we heard, they said they had fixed the burial. They called me to come and do burial rites as the Ada, the first daughter. I'm supposed to maybe buy a cow or whatever. I said we should send money. Then they had planned, getting me involved. Because when I heard my father died, I called them. I said my father had died like 2-3 weeks ago and nobody informed. I didn't even know he was sick.
Wow.
One of the sisters said, we were praying and fasting. I said, Auntie, you did not think that me too, I'm supposed to pray for my father and fast for him. She said, they thought I was in communication with him. You thought what?
Wow.
When you people were organizing fasting and prayer for him, they said somebody killed him. When we were organizing fasting, didn't you people think to say, I hope you are fasting for? Hey. Nobody called me. So, I thought of going.
Did you attend the burial?
I didn't go. And this is why you made a statement on PPC this morning. You said you were going somewhere and God said, where you they go?
Yeah.
That was it for me. I had planned. And God had to remind me, have you forgotten what I brought you out from?
Wow.
Why are you going to identify? Okay, you now want to go and carry your baby, because I would have gone with this newborn baby. I would have dragged my husband along. I would have I don't know.
It'll be a new episode of battle.
I did. In fact, I couldn't even tell Pastor Kayode that I was going for the burial. Because he would say, what are you looking for?
Wow.
He would have asked me that question, knowing what he also went through on my behalf. Wow. You know, when somebody dedicates his life to making sure that you are spiritually free.
Wow.
So when the whole drama came up with, he's supposed to come with his people as the in-law so that they too can accept him as a member. Accept. That word accept just puts me off.
Wow.
When I brought him to your shop in Ibadan, what was your reaction? Even water, they didn't give us to drink.
My God.
A supposed in-law came to see you. The least you could do is to say, will you take malt? Or at least for where? Nothing. So now you are now saying, okay, since my father is no longer in the picture, maybe they will accept him. I didn't want to put my husband through all those cultural and traditional stuff. And I had a newborn baby. I had a CS. Wow. I didn't think my father was worth that sacrifice, to be honest. I didn't think he was kind enough or a father figure enough.
It was never
for me to. I didn't feel any emotion. In fact, that day they called me and told me. I said, okay, no problem. I had my bath. I went to my shop.
Wow.
My husband called me and said, where are you there? I said, I'm in the shop. He said, your father just died. I said, My mother-in-law called. My sister-in-law's called. She said, why not? It was weird.
Now that they are now calling.
No, my in-laws now.
Okay, in-law. No, from husband's side.
My
Okay,
husband's people to tell me sorry now.
Okay.
Hey, don't cry. Everything will be. I'm fine. There's nothing. It took me like 3-4 days to break down. And that day it dawned on me. It became clear that I will never in my life experience the love of a father. And I cried. For like 3 days, I was not fine. I felt left alone. I felt rejected. I felt it's over. You know, that period made me realize that a part of me was still wishing that maybe he would get old
and
change and at least pick my calls. But he died. I think he was in his 50s.
Wow.
And they say it cleared for my eye. It dawned on me that it's never happening. You're never getting a fatherly love. And it hit me hard. Accepting it hit me really hard. I just want someone to just love that child in me.
Yeah.
And I know it's not possible, but I still wish that somebody at some point would love me like a child. That void never really goes away. It's just God that gives you strength. And, you see the love of God and you take the love of God in you. You take the love of God in you. And I would still appreciate for the rest of my life, I would appreciate Pastor Kayode Elepio because he loved me like if Pastor would drive me to school because I wasn't in any school fellowship in UI. I used to go home. I go from UI to Liole every Sunday and sometimes on Tuesday. Some Sundays, Pastor would drive me to school before going because he would go back to Lagos. That meant so much. Sometimes as you're dropping, he'll give you 10K, 5K. It wasn't about the money. It was about how intentional. The fact that I can pick up my phone and call Pastor anytime.
Yeah.
If Pastor is in a meeting, if he sees my call, he will pick my call. That was how much he is still interested in me. I could call him anytime. I could tell him anything. He wouldn't judge me. He wouldn't make me feel like I've done something that God cannot forgive.
Yeah.
He'll just tell you fast and pray. You're not supposed to do this. Sometimes he will even see that aspect of not being loose as a child. Pastor was the reason why I had to compose. Because, number one, you don't even want Pastor to say that he saw something. Because he's a very spiritual. He will call you. I hope you're coming to church on Sunday and say, yes, sir. That day I don't plan to come to church. And you just know.
That is not your matter.
He will go to somewhere to pray. He will call me. Close your eyes. And wherever you are, kneel down, pray.
My God.
Pastor loved me or loves me. If not for distance. He was interested. When I'm sick, he will pray for me. He will direct me to which hospital. He will give me money sometimes. He will call to check up on me. My husband had to go through Pastor to get to me too.
My God.
He would call, he had to just go
to the route.
Yeah, get involved.
He was in UI too?
No, he was in Leeds City University.
Amazing.
Yes. But by the time we met, he had graduated. I think he was serving in Abuja.
Oh, wow.
But he always come to Ibadan to do some things. And so, that pastor's love kept me through school.
Yeah.
It kept me in check. It kept me disciplined. My friends will always... He's in Ibadan, in our church. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
And, my friends will always say, that on a church, number one, on a 2 day spiritual, I will go for church program. From school.
People funnily believe that it takes dumb believers to be in church.
No.
And many don't have an idea of what the church stands for The society is so broken. I understand that there are broken ministries and pastored by broken pastors. But you see, let me just generalize this, that many of us would probably not have survived the hurdles of life, but for God raising the church.
My mom wouldn't have been able to help to do all the job herself. Not even on my brother. Not even. At a point, Kelechi my brother was deep in church. If not for, you grow up and everybody begins to find life and all. It was church that kept us.
My God.
That church kept us. Pastor was interested. When a father figure is interested in your matter. So when I came to Abuja and we're going to this big church, we were all sitting at the back safe. My husband was the one who was in a team, was functioning in church, but I didn't feel...
You wanted a family.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted a figure.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody I could call.
Reach out
that this is what is happening to me. Or this is what... Even when I'm broke, I will call Pastor. I say, sir, you said my destiny is great. Sakwa wants to kill me. Wow. And he will say, don't worry, everything is going to... The fact that somebody says everything is going to be fine, God is interested in you, he will talk to me, he will encourage me. No. I can't forget him.
Speaking with you this moment is giving me a new definition to the word strength. You are a strong woman. You, like they say, we don't look like what we've been through. You don't look like what we've gone through.
We can't really, there are some things you can't say on air so that it doesn't become triggering.
Another issue.
Yes. I've always, that, you see, this thing called rejection is a spirit. It's a kind of spirit. When it comes, or maybe for me, when it comes, my husband cannot contain me. I sometimes it's aggression. Sometimes I can cry for 2 days non-stop. It just comes. And I just begin to think of so many things. How my life would have been better. How I'm alone. The devil begins to, the devil is a good whisperer. He begins to remind you of everything. Yes. Everything that could have gone right that went wrong in your life because nobody loves you. It just tells you that nobody loves you. Nobody loves you. And then you begin to see, and maybe what my husband is doing is normal. Like, he's dealing with maybe he's dealing with business issues, or he's dealing with maybe family issues that doesn't have anything to do with me. But I'm just seeing rejection. Wow. And I'm breaking down. I could break down for days. I could break down for weeks. I would not want to be with anybody. Just want to lock myself up and cry. So I have been working on myself. I've been trying to build my self-esteem. I've been consciously trying. But like I said, it doesn't really go away. I've had friends I had a friend. If the latest BlackBerry is coming out today, her father buys for her. If boyfriend breaks her heart, she will call her father. Her father will send flight tickets for her to come home and be fine. So I used to be so envious. How I wish. That girl never had low self-esteem.
Wow.
If you don't want to be her friend, that's on you. Not like those of us who will still we are seeing that this person is not really a friend, but you're clinging on to the person still. If she senses it, she moves. Before you know it, she's calling her brother or her sister and they're gisting, and she has a very strong family bond. And I used to wish that I could have that. You see people, their parents will come for visiting day in secondary school. The person that used to come was the same person. Yes. And because there's no relationship, it's at the school gate, you just hand you the food. Yeah. And you collect it and you're, oh yeah, now. You go, myself. That was all the visiting days I had throughout secondary school. Wow. So you now see people, their brother is coming, they are happy, they will bring cooler, they will sit down, they will eat. I'll just sit down on my bed, I'll just be looking. And in the night I will cry. I will cry and cry and cry. Those are memories that I don't like talking about or thinking about. You see people seeing love, having siblings that love them, cousins that you wouldn't even know they're just cousins. You see fathers carrying their children's bags. You see a father carry their children's boxes on their head to the hostel during resumption or the school just closed. And there's me. Go back to school alone. Nobody cares. You know, I had this issue with my husband last month. And one of the days, my mom had to start screaming. That nobody abandoned you. I didn't abandon you. If you ever have a 5 minutes conversation with me as a child, one of the things you hear is that my father abandoned me. My mom had to say that nobody abandoned you. Nobody left you. I needed to survive. And I truly understand that. But that feeling is there. It's there.
You know, talking about abandonment and the sense of rejection that comes with it, I remember, I think what I want to talk about I've never had to say this on camera. I think I only told my wife once. Was a time during NYSC, being a pastor in the family house, being there for everyone, prayer coordinator for the state and all that. Towards the end of the service, one of those days, I was going through some things and I had my friends gather, and this one was talking about, oh, I'm traveling home, I want to go and take this interview, I'm going there. And then we're just talking, just simple conversation. But because I've been carrying so much in my heart, I busted out in tears, weeping. I went from the strong Lazarus that we all tell our problems to the Lazarus they had to be begging and like, from where to where, what happened? And what came to my mind was the thought of the fact that the moment we pick our bags and leave this family house, as toxic as it is, there's nowhere to call home. I know where that left me as a man. Yeah. That either ways, each one, they're there dealing with their problems. There's nowhere to go to call home, even for a day. And I was just there asking, why do I have to carry this kind of cross?
That's a lot.
Now I think about it, that if that, you can have a house but not a home.
Yes.
You know, if I could feel like that as a man and break down that much. I mean, I was weeping and shivering, like the pain I bottled for so long.
Yes. Yes.
You know, how much more a lady? You know, I mean, there's a story we are still going to bring up on stories, but much more, there's going to be a blend of it in my movie coming up next year. Because, I mean, I've just seen that, you see, this family thing is not something you can handle with sermons alone.
No.
You know, but let me ask, and if I may ask, that the rejection that comes with his absence, how did you outgrow it?
Church. Yes. 1, church. 2, exposure. I began to see that I began to have friends. And like I said, pastor took me in as a child, as his daughter. So 1, church.
Wow.
I don't care how you want to live your life or whatever decisions you choose to make. Get a church that you're comfortable with. And we are adults, you know right and wrong. So get a church that speaks to you. I have been in LCLC just May, June, July, August. This this is September and I'm here talking about this that I have never spoken about
Wow.
in details like this.
Wow.
So, and the day you preached for the first time that I heard you on, because what we mostly see on the internet is the clips. I repost, my husband reposts, even my mom too reposts sometimes.
Wow.
Yes. So that day, my husband said, he's speaking like Pastor Kayode. I said exactly what I was going to say to you. So it's like, this is it.
Continuation.
So church for me is everything. Having a father figure, a spiritual father that I can always reach out to, that I could always call, helped me spiritually, especially, then emotionally and mentally. There was no iota of me feeling unwanted with Pastor.
Wow.
I wasn't living in the house with him. We were not close on the family level, but on the spiritual daughter and spiritual father level, we were good.
Wow.
We were good. Even when you hear certain things about him, I'm like, that's how you people are, that's you people's headache. This is what I have with him. And it's good for me, mentally and physically and emotionally. And then friends, that exposure, you know, you begin to see people talk to you, people begin to warm up to you. You know, you get to that age where men begin to toast you. And it's like, oh, I'm actually beautiful. Okay. You know? And then I began to also bond with my mom. My mom is open-minded.
Yeah.
I could tell her anything. If it's wrong, she would scold me, but she would not condemn me. She would not judge me to the point where I will now be looking down on myself, because she had experienced it. So she knew what to say and what not to say. She knew what her own had said to her that got to her. So she knew exactly what not to say to me. So my mom, as much as possible, relived her childhood through me by correcting
the mistakes there.
Yes. So with me, she was more accommodating, or is more accommodating. She is understanding. She would even ask you, is there no boy toasting you?
Wow.
Tell me, if they are toasting you, bring them to the house. So if you want to be my boyfriend, in quotes, you have to come to the house to see me. My mother will see you. Who are you? What is your name? Where are you from? The one she does not like the friendship. She say, Ada, you see this boy, I know clear. You know? And because my mom knows you, I cannot go further than that.
Wow.
So that helped me feel loved. Most girls don't want to go home. Most youths don't want to go home from university, especially after school. When school closes, they don't want to go home.
Yeah.
Me, before they say ASU, I'm at home.
Thank God.
And the beautiful thing is that as I'm getting home, my brother is already at home.
Wow.
We always feel comfortable at home.
With her.
Yes. We gist, we watch movies together. You know, back then, all the music, she had to deliberately learn so that when we are talking, she too can contribute. So my mom helped, church helped. I would say church number one. Because when I first came to Ibadan, my mom and I were not very close at that time, because we were just coming to live in the same house for for a whole year or forever, whatever. So church was the first place we warmed up to. Everybody accepted us. My brother became active in church. Me, I'm not the very active person in church, but I always go to church. I'm always at every program. Then my mom helped. Then friends, you know, getting to meet people. And then getting to see people who actually have good fathers. That thing helped me a lot. It helped me see life in another perspective. That this thing actually exists. And people have this. And even if I can't get it, I can give my child.
Yeah.
When I begin to have kids, I can give my children this. So that, for me, is how I was able to come out of it. And then it's a gradual process. It's not a 1 year, 2 years, 5 years thing. It's not. It takes you gradually training your mind, training yourself to come out of it. So as time went on in school, and like I said, I forced myself to dust that childhood assault, and I kept it. That childhood, I kept it. I kept on pushing. And somehow I lived through it. On the surface, I'm almost a very happy person. The issues with me, maybe anger. But other than that, I'm always, jovial and free with everybody. I try to be good to people. because I learned from pastor. I see my mom. My mom is a very kind. My mom is a very kind person. My mom is kind to the point that mom, even when they carry knife and choke you, you know that this person is not a good friend. She is that good. So I saw her do that. I saw my grandfather too be a nice person. Papa was a good man. So these are areas where I picked from. I now begin to sit myself down and say, okay, you can be this, you can be that. Remember when Papa said this? Remember when your mother did this? Then friends, you know, exposure. But to top it up is church. The sermons, the teachings, and the love of God. God, at a point, made me understand that He is intentional about me. God is intentional about me. At